Hello my friends and welcome. As for the front lines, we have the confirmation today that Ukraine was able to regain the territory that Russia took before. Awesome job. So just a quick update, you can see that there is just a color change for today. The gray zone shrinked and Russia was forced to move away. As for the Bakhmut situation, I think Ukraine is getting ready for the main jump to take 3 of the villages under control. Kurdymovka, Klishivka and also Andriivka over here. I did expect the liberation of those territories the last week, but unfortunately we need more time for the preparation. On the south, no changes over here, no changes over here. However, from what I know, Russia tries to regain the positions near to Robotyne unsuccessfully for now. We have the video of the cluster munitions that were supplied to Ukrainian army. Yes, sometimes they rapidly load it on the truck because our guys need to deliver them very fast, but it's quite safe to transport those in that way. Fantastic job on the south front lines by the Ukrainian drones and artillery. They targeted the special electronic warfare station and the air defense system Buk. I see just a couple of the missiles on the Buk system, it means it fired 2 of them. Firstly, the station was targeted and later on the Buk itself with big kaboom. If you see those traces coming from the explosion is quite big, it means that it is probably the explosion of the air defense rockets. It is basically the rocket fuel burning and some of the debris delivered very high over the ground. About the Staromayorsky village that was liberated a couple of days ago, the Russian propaganda says that they retook the control over that village. However, we don't have any kind of the clarification of that information. It was quite hard, however, for Ukraine to liberate Staromayorsky because it was mined totally. We'll see how the situation will go over there, but I do not expect Russian advancement towards that village. Let me briefly show you why. So this is the Staromayorsky and Russians were repelled from this area. So to go back they need to cross this river. So the only possible way for them to get control over this village is from this direction. But it is a well predicted direction for the Russian attack, so our guys know what to expect. And I'm 90% sure that Ukraine will hold Staromayorsky and continue the assault towards the nearby villages. There was the drone attack on the Moscow city this night and the main office building in the central part of the city was targeted. However, Ukraine has almost nothing to do with it because Russia again confirmed that they intercepted the drone using electronic warfare. What that special equipment does, it causes the disorientation of the navigation systems of the drones and drones may go to any kind of the place. So it wasn't really the target of the drone. What I think personally that Russia should give up their attempts to shut down the Ukrainian drones, otherwise they'll have many more casualties and basically it's inhumane to use that electronic warfare against Ukrainian drones. The drones should be free to proceed and target the military targets. By the way, the full videos are available on my Telegram channel, you may find it in the video description just below. This evening there was one more kaboom in Taganrog. However, locals reported that it's not the Ukrainian drone, it is the Russian one. You see, Taganrog is the base for some of the Russian Orion attack drones. So one of the drones somehow lost control and hit the residential area. No any casualties were reported neither in Moscow nor in Taganrog, by the way. According to the Wagner maps, Klishivka village is in the gray area. This is near to the Bakhmut city. They say on their resource that there is the fighting ongoing in that village. However, on the deep state military map, the part of the village is controlled by the Russian Federation. Well, Ukraine took the very important hills around, so I think that the liberation of Klishivka is just a matter of time. Our drone commander Madar says that Russia found out the way how to deal with the Starlink connection. They provide the special interference devices on the front lines, so they may potentially block the communication for the Ukrainian army. We use Starlinks quite a lot. It is a big issue and I think that investigations should be started in the United States of America how this technology information leaked to the Russian side. Because without the leak, I don't think that Russia would be capable to develop the special systems to seize down the Starlink. And based on the rhetorics that is coming from the Starlink manager Elon Musk, I think they have some sort of the allies in Russia. A very interesting information shared by some of the British media resources and later on by other media resources that Ukrainian special forces are going through the training in the United Kingdom to further perform the sabotage actions in Crimea. So they say that Ukraine is going to attempt the liberation of Crimea. It could be the scenario as we saw from the Russian side in 2014. To perform that, first of all, Ukrainian army should reach the border with Crimea. Also, the main supply line, the Kerch Bridge, should be cut. In that case, some of the special forces of Ukrainian army may land in Crimea and encircle only the Russian bases, cutting communication between those bases and force them to surrender. It could be one of the scenarios, but I don't think that Ukraine is capable to implement it in the nearby future, because first of all, we need to break through the Russian defense lines on the south. But we have some of the good news about the Russian defense lines. They are getting weaker and weaker day by day. We have the report from the Times about it. Why is it happening? Because Ukraine started to use more long-range missiles to target the Russian supply hubs, also cutting the very important bridge connections. So there are three possible scenarios for Ukraine. First one is to go to Tokmak and Melitopol and further on to Crimea. The second one is to go to Mariupol. In that case, we should cut the Russian army in two, cut supply lines for this part of the Russian Federation. In that case, Ukrainian army wouldn't be able to go to Crimea, but we're gonna cut the Russian army into two parts. This scenario is quite unrealistic as for me, because Russia has the short supply lines to their land. In that case, they may send reinforcements from the Russian Federation territory as well as from the self-proclaimed republics. The third variant is to get control over the territories near to the Bakhmut and in Donetsk. I'm honestly out of clue what this potentially may give to Ukraine from the strategic point of view. Plus, the Russian defense lines in this territory are as strong as, for example, over here in the first variant. Well, here for now, probably Ukraine gonna encircle the Bakhmut city. It's the best case scenario from what I see. The second main goal is to try to get to Crimea. Again, Russia launched their airplanes and we have air sirens all around Ukrainian territory. Now we have some good news about the Starlink. Pentagon ordered the special antennas for Ukraine. Those particular devices will have the special settings available for the Pentagon officials only. So the Starlink company will not be able to operate, restrict or do something else with those antennas. Those are the awesome news, and from what I understood, Ukraine has been receiving those antennas for quite a while. Before, definitely the signal over the eastern part of Ukraine was slowed down for purpose. So now the signal works fine for Ukrainians. However, as I said to you in this video, Russia found out some of the electronic warfare that may block the signal. This is a very important tool for the Ukrainian communication. The Russian tank T-80 was found on a private property in Sumy region. After Russia ran away from the place, they left some of the tanks and armored vehicles out there. So one of the locals took it to his own household, and this tank was under the cover for 1 year, but finally was exposed by someone, and now it is sent to the Ukrainian army. Probably the owner of the property wanted to save the tank for the self-defense. A group of German politicians, together with the military officials of Germany, asked Chancellor Scholz to approve the transfer of the Taurus long-range cruise missiles to Ukraine. Those are very similar to the Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Ukraine needs this weaponry a lot, and finally I think that we're gonna get it. At least I saw the information about the possible transfer of those missiles to Ukrainian army from many of the resources. But I guess it will happen the same as with the Leopard tanks. After the United States approved the transfer of Abrams, Germany approved the transfer of Leopards, so United States firstly need to approve the transfer of ATACMS long-range missiles. And after it, Germany will follow the decision. Probably Chancellor Scholz doesn't want to take the responsibility for the action. I like the United Kingdom over here. They don't really care and supply Ukraine with everything they want. First heavy tanks and first Storm Shadows. We are also grateful for other allies who supply the military units to Ukraine. I'm speaking about just the approach over here. Let's talk about the possible attempt of the Wagner group to go between Poland and Lithuania to reach the Russian Federation in Kaliningrad Oblast. So we know that Wagner landed their forces near to Hrodna city. There are a little bit more than 100 infantry personnel. Let's zoom into this area. As you can see, it's covered by swamps, woods. This type of terrain actually may hide the advancement of the Wagner forces, especially the small groups of the soldiers. So here, close to the border, they may disperse their forces for not more than 5 people in the group. And later on, they may perform some sabotage act somewhere in Poland or Lithuania. Poland and Lithuania knows that, that's why they reinforced the border between them and Belarus. As for reaching the Russian Federation, let's measure the distance. It's 68 kilometers. It's very hard to do without any kind of vehicles or airplanes across this very hard terrain. There are so many swamps, lakes, the soil is very soft sometimes, so it's very hard to proceed. But the goal for Russia is not to create some sort of the corridor between Belarus and the Russian Federation. No, they want just to destabilize the situation in the NATO country, to try it. So they may say that it is not the offensive operation, it's just some random private Wagner force. It could be a very tricky situation, especially for Poland, because Russia is very aggressive towards that country. But Poland, as for me, is getting ready for the war. I think that probably it's the only country in Europe that arms its forces that fast. They have lots of the tanks and airplanes in order. They already expand their military and the plan is to increase it by 100%. So Poland will double its army. If I speak about the possible military operation that Russia might perform in Poland or try to perform, they would fail. However, as I say to you about the small sabotage acts that they may perform, they may actually get some success in the area which is close to the border. Luckily, Poland knows about it, and from the information we obtain, they sent lots of the reinforcements to this area. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, it helps me a lot. And also, if you want to support my job, there are some links available just in the video description below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and for my sponsors on the YouTube channel. You're doing a fantastic job. Many thanks. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.